Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to brand new video. Now, as Arsenal continue to search for a striker, Mikel Arteta and Edu continue to scout Nigerian striker at Leverkusen, Victor Boniface. They think the profile fits into what Mikel Arteta wants at Arsenal in the summer as a new number 9. And of course, Victor Boniface himself on the John Mikel Obi podcast has come out and said, I'm a big Arsenal fan. I would love to play at Arsenal and I would love to one day be in the Premier League. He says he's been an Arsenal fan since childhood, and probably that could be an advantage for Arsenal in the market should we try to sign him come the summer, alongside a couple of other clubs that are interested, including Bayern and Chelsea as well. Now, let me know in the comment box below what you think about Victor Boniface. One season at Leverkusen, but he's absolutely tearing it apart. In this video, we're going to be diving into what is Victor Boniface all about, what is his profile, what are his statistics, what are his numbers, and what can he do and what can he not do. I'm not going to lie, before we get into the video, I'm not 100% satisfied with what I've found out as I researched Victor Boniface. Now, some of you might have seen him eye to eye in Nigeria playing for the Nigerian national team, and probably you have seen him better, you know him better, and some of you have actually watched the German Bundesliga more than I do, and you have a much better picture about him. But we're going to be diving into his profile, and I'll tell you why I don't think it's the finished article, and therefore I don't think Arsenal should invest the money in him, and maybe why Mikel Arteta is interested in him, because there is a very big similarity between Boniface and Gabriel Jesus. Yeah, I just said that. So hit the like button, sit down, and let's enjoy the video on Victor Boniface. Now, in terms of his profile, his full name is Victor Boniface, age 23, comes in from Nigeria. He's currently playing for Leverkusen, but previously, before this season, he played for Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgium. I do not know why Nigerian strikers love Belgium. I don't know why it's a route for them to get to the big European leagues, but again, this is another Nigerian striker coming from the Belgian league, from Union Saint-Gilloise. His height is 1.9 meters. That is 6'3". So that means that he's a tall guy, and he's a huge guy as well. So when it comes to aerial ability, when it comes to heading the ball from dead ball situations, Arsenal could be looking at the right guy. Now, his current contract runs down in 2028, and his market value, according to the according to the transfer market website, is 40 million euros. So literally, that is Victor Boniface, and that is all you need to know about his personal life and probably the contract at Leverkusen. A contract until 2028 is a long one, and it's a long one because he's actually just signed. It is just signed for them from Union Saint-Gilloise, and that means that anyone who wants to actually break that contract and take him to their club is going to have to pay a premium, or at least in excess of 50 million euros. But as a young striker, and one of the strikers that are just busting onto the scene, you can see his market value is not very high. So Arsenal have an advantage there. If you don't want to spend hundreds of millions, there is an alternative in Victor Boniface. You can go in there at Leverkusen and negotiate a 50 million euro deal, and you could actually get him. Now, in terms of numbers, I've looked at the last 2 seasons, and he is absolutely phenomenal. He's one of these young strikers that are on the upward trajectory to actually become serious goal scorers. This season at Leverkusen, 16 games so far, he's scored 10 goals for them and assisted 7 times. And that is not including his performances in the Europa League, where he has already scored 4 times and assisted once. So in total, he has scored 14 goals for Leverkusen this campaign so far, and he has assisted 8 times. The assists is something that Arsenal fans need to pay great attention to, because Mikel Arteta as manager, he doesn't want a box striker. He doesn't want a guy that he's either scoring or doing nothing. He wants a player who can get involved, assist for others, create for others, and create that conducive environment for other players to play in, but also to thrive in as well, and that is Victor Boniface. Now, interestingly, at Union Saint-Gilloise last season, he played 37 games, scoring 9 times, but again, very important here, assisting 8 times. This is not a mistake that Edu and Mikel Arteta have Victor Boniface on their list. I think they've looked at his return in terms of scoring goals. He's not these Erling Haaland freaks, but then they've looked at his ability to support the team when he's not just scoring goals. And he is magnificent. He's purely phenomenal at his extra game, apart from just scoring goals. Now, let's dive into the advantages and of his profile and why I think his portfolio is a 50-50. You can sign him and he works out. You could actually sign him and he doesn't work out, and you end up selling him to a club like West Ham and Crystal Palace, and that could be his level. So first and foremost, he's a very raw player, and that's the first point I've written right here on my screen. Very raw player, not near the finished article, not anywhere near the finished article. So when you go and look at his clips, when you go and look at his game, you can see a player who's very enthusiastic about football, very passionate about what he does, and he's going to become a great bowler. He's an absolute bowler. But the problem is that he's very raw. Decision-making wise, he's young, he's making a lot of mistakes, he's making a lot of bad decisions in front of goal. And what don't we want at Arsenal at the moment, Victor? We do not want bad decision-making. Listen, we have a young Martinelli, we have a young Saka, we have a young Odegaard, and a young Edin Ketia. And, of course, a very unclinical Gabriel Jesus. When you combine the level of, childishness these players are actually displaying in front of goal, you bet you want someone better. You want someone who is lethal. You want someone who is very clinical. You want someone who is very good at decision making and very quick and very fast as well. That is not Victor Boniface for you. Still very raw, still very young, and maybe a Mikel Arteta, maybe a Jurgen Klopp, maybe a Pep Guardiola could actually do a wonderful job with such a young striker. I mean, Mikel can take him in, up his game, work on his game, and improve it. There's no question about that. But at the moment, I am still not sure Victor Boniface is the finished article. He is not the finished article. One season in the German Bundesliga, he needs one or two other campaigns to actually prove to us, hey guys, I'm your boy. I've done it for 3 consecutive seasons, and now I'm ready for the big stage. Just like the likes of Dusan Vlahovic, no one was really convinced about him. He had a very good campaign previously at Fiorentina in 2021, but we were very skeptical. But you look at the likes of Victor Osimhen and what he's actually achieved now. He's had a very great campaign with Napoli, winning the Scudetto, and he's still continuing to score goals even after that. So I think in terms of comparison, Osimhen can be termed as a nearly finished article, and Victor Boniface can be termed as a nowhere near. You can find him as a nowhere near player, nowhere near to the finished article. That is my first point about his profile. Now, secondly, he is an absolute bowler, and this is what Mikel Arteta actually likes. He loves to fetch the ball from the midfield. He loves to drift into the midfield. So when he is in the team, your midfielders are actually not isolated. The attack is not isolated from the midfield. So that means that when Arsenal are out of possession, he will be coming back, dropping deep and picking up the ball and driving forward from the midfield. And when Arsenal are in possession, he can come again, drop deep, provide numbers, provide numerical superiority for us to pass the ball around and create those very different and dangerous dimensions in attack. That is maybe the reason Mikel Arteta has looked at him and has gone, I might want this boy. He is a Gabriel Jesus, but even taller and even very masculine. So that is one of the traits I've looked at his game, and I've appreciated it more than actually Guirassy. I think Guirassy is also a very good player, and he's phenomenal. But what Guirassy doesn't have is that ability to play as a midfielder, to almost play as a midfielder, and attempts to drift out and play as a winger. Victor Boniface, has actually got that. Now, his eye for goal, as compared to the players we're linked with, Lautaro Martinez, the likes of Guirassy, the likes of Ali Watkins, his eye for goal is actually not very impressive. It's a 50-50. I mean, if you don't like a striker who is shooting all the time and is thinking about the goal all the time, this is your guy. And Mikel Arteta, again, this is your guy. He's not one of the strikers I've looked at, their clips and their, best moments, and he's looking to just score. No. When you go on YouTube and you're looking at a striker, they collect the best moments of the striker. They collect the best goals. But for Victor Boniface, it is actually not all about that. And I've looked at him going through on goal. He would rather look for a run of another player than actually try to go for goal. Now, for me, for strikers, I love selfish bastards. I really do love selfish maniacs in a striker. I want my striker to be a selfish maniac. I want my striker to be a ruthless bastard. I don't care if there is a run made by Saka. Just hit the ball and just try to hit the target, because the more times he does that, the more confidence and the more goals he's going to score. When you have a striker who can't score for you 15 goals, it really doesn't fulfill the point as to why Arsenal have waited for like 3 years, and then to bring in a striker whose eye for goal is kind of 50-50. But also, again, this can be worked on. It is, like I said, it's not the finished article in terms of strikers, in terms of number 9s and forwards. So this can be worked on, and whoever is going to work with them, he needs to actually educate him. When you are a striker, there is a certain area in the penalty box where you've got to think about yourself. Just yourself. Don't look back. Don't look sideways. Just hit the target. Just hit the ball as precisely, as sweetly, as honestly as you can. And if you do that a couple of times, you're going to be hitting the back of the net, and everyone is going to be talking about your name at the Emirates Stadium. So that is something very, very interesting there. He is a striker that doesn't really focus all of his efforts to scoring goals. Very good for our system, but also not very good for what we're looking for. The other thing I'm not convinced about him is the clinical levels of Victor Boniface. Now, he has scored a couple of goals already. 10 goals in 16 games. Everyone would say that is alright, that is good. But we've got to factor into this. In the same number of games, a right back in Jeremy Frimpong has scored 7 goals, for Bayer Leverkusen this campaign so far. What does that tell you? Bayer Leverkusen are firing, and they are on fire. So it's either Victor Boniface is actually good and he's developing into one of the world-class strikers the world is going to have in the next 5, 6, 7 years, or he's actually picking up these goals because the team is actually firing, and the team is doing very well. Because if Frimpong, who is a right back, has scored 7 goals and you've scored 10, that means you've scored 3 more goals than your right back. There's a question there. Of course, the likes of Grimaldo, the likes of Florian Wirtz, all this team is doing very well. So I would love to see Victor Boniface when Bayer Leverkusen is not actually at its peak, when they are not flying, when they are not doing everything right, when they're not getting every decision right. Can he be that guy that can bury 2 chances out of 4 chances that he gets? I want to see, right? But for me, his clinical levels, he's like a 40%. When you give him 5 chances, he can bury 1. When you give him 3 chances, there is a possibility that he doesn't bury any, right? And it goes back to the eye for goal. It goes back to the hunger. It goes back to the enthusiasm he has in front of goal. Is he really hungry to hit the back of the net? Is he really desperate to get himself and his name onto the score sheet? He's still a young striker, so we can actually evaluate that as his contract runs down at Bayer Leverkusen, but also as time goes on. Right now, he's picked up that injury that is going to affect him probably this season. He's undergone surgery today, according to the Bayer Leverkusen website. So we might actually give him some time to see whether he comes back this season, and when he comes back, will he come back actually, firing? Now, there are 2 things that Mikel Arteta and Arsenal would benefit from signing Victor Boniface. Number 1, he is an aerial monster. We've just said there in his profile, 6'3". That guy is tall, right? That guy is absolutely tall. He's a giant. And the Premier League needs giants. Like, look at Erling Haaland. Look at Harry Kane. And Harry Kane almost scored every single type of goal against Arsenal. Like, every single type of goal against Arsenal. Headers, bullying our defenders, strikes outside the penalty area, curlers, penalties, free kicks. He literally made Arsenal, a punching bag Every time he was angry, he would come to the Emirates, or we would go to the White Hart Lane, and he would absolutely destroy us and score. So with Victor Boniface, he's got that build of a Premier League striker. Physically, and in terms of physicality, you don't have a problem. He's such a giant. He's such a very good player. He's such a well-built player. Not very good, but well-built player. Tall, physical. He's going to shield the ball. He's going to protect the ball, and he's got that Romelu Lukaku vibe around him. Not the missing of chances. I'm sorry. Of course, he does miss chances, but the Romelu Lukaku vibe I'm talking about is the fact that he can push defenders out of his way. He can create a way by using his body and by using his mass. So if Arsenal want a striker that can hold the play up a little bit, and we're not trying to play through the traffic, Victor Boniface could be a good one. In terms of corners, free kicks, dead ball situations, you want someone to head the ball into the back of the net, then Victor Boniface is an option. That is Victor Boniface for you. Big Arsenal fan. He would love to play for Arsenal, but at the moment, he is injured. If a deal is going to happen, it could be one for the summer. If you like this video, hit the like button, and I'll see you right in the next one.